In the spring of 1944, a small group of believers gathered with a shared vision to plant a church in the growing town of Auburn, Washington. On April 18th of that year, under the leadership of Reverend R.E. Lawrence, the Auburn Church of the Nazarene was officially organized. It would become both the last church established under the North Pacific District and the first to rise under the newly formed Washington Pacific District. For 6 months, this young congregation searched for a place to call home. Eventually, they found it, a simple storefront on North Division between Main and First. There, a humble sign was hung, marking the beginning of something greater than any of them could have imagined. From that modest space, a new community was born, one that would become part of a worldwide denomination and a global effort to share the message of Christ. This is the story of the Auburn Church of the Nazarene, a story of faith, perseverance, and the enduring power of community. Throughout its history, the Auburn Church of the Nazarene has always been a church on the move, not only in spirit, but in growth. Each move marked another step forward, another chapter in a story driven by faith and vision. In 1947, just a few years after its founding, the congregation left the modest storefront on North Division and gathered in a small chapel in C Street and 8th Street Southeast, a humble space filled with warmth, prayer, and hope. By 1954, the church family had grown once again, and with it came the need for a new home, this time on 5th Street Southeast. But even there, the vision didn't stop. In 1960, hoping to finally settle for at least a decade, the congregation moved once again into the old Presbyterian building on 2nd and Division. Yet, as history would show, God's plans were bigger than the walls that held them. Just 7 years later, the church was once again overflowing, a living testimony that growth comes when faith refuses to stand still. In 1969, after years of moving and growing, the Auburn Church of the Nazarene finally found a place to call home, right here at 29th and M Street Southeast. In this new season, God continued to move through His people. The church was alive, growing in number, in faith, and in purpose. And with growth came new possibilities. In 1973, a new educational building and fellowship hall were added, creating space for teaching, community, and fellowship. Just a few years later, in 1976, a new outreach was born, the Love and Care Daycare Ministry, a place where faith and love could shape young lives and serve the community. And still, the vision continued to expand. In 1985, 2 new classrooms and an office were added, each wall and window a reminder that God wasn't finished. He was building something lasting. What began as a place to gather became a place to grow, a home where generations would learn, serve, and carry the message of Christ forward. As the years went on, the Auburn Church of the Nazarene continued to grow, not only in spirit, but in the very walls that held its story. It began with a complete update of the kitchen, the heart of every church gathering. Then, in 2007, the entire parking lot was raised and repaved, preparing the way for all who would come. In 2009, the foyer was expanded and the ceilings raised, creating space that felt warm, welcoming, and alive. And by 2014, the sanctuary itself was completely renewed. New carpet, fresh paint, and a beautifully reconstructed platform that once again became the center of worship. A year later, new sanctuary chairs replaced the aging pews, a simple change that reflected something much deeper, a church always willing to move forward, to make room for the next generation. Through every renovation, expansion, and season of change, one thing has never shifted the heart of the people. They gave their time, their talents, and their resources to make God's house a place where the community could be reached and lives could be transformed. In recent years, as the world around us has grown louder with voices of distraction and division, the Auburn Church of the Nazarene has chosen a different path, one of purpose, compassion, and outreach. In a culture often immersed in secularism, this church has remained committed to reaching outward, meeting real needs, building genuine relationships, and breaking down barriers for the sake of the gospel. Through ministries like our daycare, English language classes, and weekly programs, each effort carries the same heartbeat that God would use us to make a kingdom impact in the lives of those we encounter. 2020 brought a season unlike any the world had ever known. As a global pandemic swept across nations, fear and uncertainty touched every home, every family, and every church. Auburn Church of the Nazarene was no exception. Gathering became difficult. Loving one another required distance. Ministry had to adapt, reshape, and reimagine itself. But even in the silence of empty rooms, God was still speaking. Then, a new challenge arrived. The church walked through a difficult transition. For about 18 months, there was no lead pastor. It was a season of waiting, searching, and trusting. A season that tested faith, but never broke it. The congregation prayed day after day, month after month, believing that God would provide in His perfect timing. And in July of 2022, those prayers were answered. Reverend John and Reverend Catlin Baum, along with their 3 wonderful children, Esther, Miriam, and Wesley, joined the Auburn Church of the Nazarene family as lead pastors. When Pastor John stepped into his role, the task ahead was great. Attendance had changed, finances were strained, and healing was needed. But with humility, courage, and faith, he began the slow and steady work of rebuilding. He became more than a leader. He became a shepherd, walking with families, praying over the hurting, strengthening the weary, and reminding us that God was not finished with Auburn Church of the Nazarene, not even close. And today, we stand as living testimony that God restores, God rebuilds, and God renews. In every season, through hardship, through loss, through uncertainty, one truth has carried us forward. God has been faithful. And as we look ahead, we do so with confidence, because the same God who guided us through the past is leading us into the future. A future filled with hope, a future grounded in Christ, a future where lives will continue to be changed. One family, one child, one soul at a time. To every member who prayed, who served, who stayed faithful through the hardest seasons, thank you. Your dedication, your love, and your willingness to work together made all the difference. Without you, this journey would have been much harder. Because of your faithfulness, this church continues to move forward. In every chapter of our story, through trials, through victories, through seasons of waiting and of growth, God has been good. God has been faithful. And as we look ahead, we do so with hope. The same God who carried us through the past is leading us into something new, something greater than we can imagine. A future full of purpose, unity, and transformation. The story of Auburn Church of the Nazarene is still being written, and the best is yet to come.